Hashtag is on our show. Bryan Moore, the founder of Talk Shop Live and Garth Brooks' social media guy, today on the Music Universe podcast.
This was such a fun interview.
This was great. You know, we normally don't do products and services on this show. We get pitched them all the time. We get pitched, oh, this artist is doing this advertisement for this, but we typically don't do that because that's the PR firm wanting extra, trying to use music as a way in to get advertising for the product versus, but Bryan Moore, who many Garth fans know as hashtag on Garth's Inside Studio G, is also, I shouldn't say also, he's Garth's social media guy by way of being an entrepreneur himself. And after he got Garth set up and was in that infrastructure, he was able to launch this idea that he tells us he's had for many, many years of doing this Talk Shop Live, which if you're not familiar, is a place where you can go interact with artists as they sell their latest and greatest releases. Recently, Dolly Parton and James Patterson were just on. Oprah's been on, but they don't just talk about how great the product is. They talk about they're interviewed by incredible journalists, or they just chat with fans. It's a really, really great platform. And I say at the beginning of the interview here, you'll hear in a second, it's the new QVC. And I actually think QVC is lagging behind what Bryan is doing in many, many respects.
Yeah, Bryan's really changed the way people buy things now, physical products. And we talk about that in the interview too, because physical media sales, mostly vinyl, has, just been overwhelming the last 15 years with Record Store Day, and CDs have kind of, shot down and then just shoot back up again recently. I've seen an article about that. And they offer a little bit of everything, including merch like this, although this didn't come from there, but just a really neat way to interact with your favorite artists, and they can interact with the fans and still pick up their latest project, and even signed editions and limited editions like the Dolly Parton vinyl and book. And it's just a really neat platform that I'm glad we're
able to talk about
and talk with Bryan, who we've wanted on the show for a while now.
Bryan Moore, known to many fans of this G guy as hashtag, is also the founder of Talk Shop Live, which I think one day is going to overtake QVC. I swear to God. I absolutely love it. Bryan Moore, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Oh, I am. Good to see you. Good to see you. I have to say, Talk Shop Live, my first interaction with it was the anthology series for Garth, which I think was the launch of it. So talk a little bit about the beginning of Talk Shop Live, if you don't mind, and how that idea came to your mind and how you were able to execute it.
Okay, awesome. Well, I'd worked in social media for a long time. I started the social media department at 20th Television. And then I moved over to CBS, where I oversaw social and digital for all the syndicated programming, Entertainment Tonight, and the Yahoo partnership. Mm-hmm. And then when I left, it was the time period where the social media algorithm shifted, right? And it started to impact people reaching their audience, right? Mm-hmm. It started to impact people making sales. And I had actually not so well-known fact, but I'd studied Mandarin Chinese for 13 years.
Oh, wow.
And my first plan in life was to be a diplomat, which did not happen. But I lived there for a year and a half. So I watched as live stream commerce became a $1 billion industry in Asia. And I was like, wow, I wish we had this in the US and for people that I worked with and just talent and creators in general, because I think it's really important for people to have a vehicle where they can communicate and connect with their fans in an authentic way, right? And where you get the experience of being with them, and when they're releasing projects, they're releasing them directly to their fans. And it's really like a creator first, fan first experience.
Mm-hmm. So when you came out with Talk Shop Live, and I know you had worked with Garth a few years prior to
and Trisha before that.
Mhm.
What were they, especially with you working with his Facebook Live series? He's like the first artist to launch that, and we actually discussed that in Fresno in 2016. I don't know if you remember. I was the guy that had the tripod that was a little lower, and I had to redo Trisha.
I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Embarrassing moment there, but super cool. And we chatted a little bit. But did that inspire you? That relationship with them inspire you to launch this, because it's a really unique way, and I think it's better than QVC in many ways because they have
I
that
agree.
live fan interaction, whereas QVC you have to call.
Yeah. I would say I'll put it this way. Garth and Trisha inspire me in every way, right? They
Yeah.
inspire me to show up for life as a better human being. They inspire me to go after and chase my dreams. They, inspire me that anything is possible when you're really putting your best foot forward to make good things happen for everybody who's involved. I Talk Shop Live was, I think, I think it's important for any business, right? Any business, any creator, and I think Garth put it on the map in a huge way for us, right? So
Right.
that a lot of people then wanted to follow, and Trisha, you know what I mean? And once they've done it, what it did, which was incredible for our team at Talk Shop Live, was it put on the map so people were aware of the power of what it could do and the experience that you could create with your fans. And I know people talk about home shopping or is it QVC 2.0, and I grew up as like a QVC junkie as a kid. I love it. But the thing is, but what I think is really different about it is it's not just about going on and selling a product, but it's
Right.
really about going on and being like, let's create an experience. And
Mhm.
how do we create an experience that people can connect with and engage with, where after they get the product, not only do they have that product, but they have the experience of being there with me. Like, I know, like when Oprah came on,
Yeah.
like someone said afterwards, they were like, I bought the book from Oprah during the show, and every time I pick up that book, the book, it's not like I just bought the book, but I remember what Oprah was saying as I bought the book. I remember her answering my question, and I think there's so much about that makes it really special.
Yeah, I'll give you my Talk Shop Live story because, unfortunately, because I'm running around, it's the only one I got to interact with live. As Buddy has the shirt on over there, was the Legacy Collection. He and I both did our dates that we interviewed Garth, because Garth has very significant meaning to both of our careers and why we do what we do. So we both got to interview him, and so for the numbers on the Legacy set, we put our dates of our interviews. And mine, I was a senior in college, which made it all the more special. And I say that to say this. I remember what hell it was for you with everybody crashing that site at once and people worried they were going to get their numbers and all that stuff. And every time I look at my Legacy collection, I'm like, gosh darn it, we made it through the trenches together to get this really special, significant thing. That not only is a commemorative of an artist's career, but something important for me and my relationship to that career. And I know there are millions of others who ordered the Legacy who feel the same way.
Yeah. And I think, for us, obviously that day was a big day for us. Obviously
Right.
It's Garth, so it's always massive. But I also, the other thing that was so great about that time was I just, with him and with the fans and everybody being so understanding
Right.
of what I mean, like of the experience. And I just remember him saying, like, this is going to be part of your story one day. And I guess talking to you guys and you talking about it, it really is, and then the thing is, but what it also did was it also showed me how, important it is always to take care of the people who are participating with you in these experiences, right? And it's
exactly.
Like, realistically, we're doing all of this stuff online, and at the end of the day, it's really the people that matter the most and their experience.
And I can imagine that when COVID hit, that became so important for you guys in a new dimension. And I would wager to guess that your business is actually one that did very well. Talk Shop Live probably did very well over COVID. I don't mean to presume, but those digital businesses being a little bit ahead of time and how much we leaped in 2020 into those digital interactions. I can imagine you being a leader on the commerce side of it. That was a interesting time for you. If you could talk about how COVID impacted Talk Shop Live and whether that created a struggle or whether you were able to grow because everybody was doing virtual by that point.
Yeah, I think, because people ask me about that a lot, and I find it, what I always say is that I believe that live stream commerce in North America would have taken off regardless, right? Because
Okay.
of the opportunity that it provides. But I think that everything that was going on with COVID, it really expedited that, right? Like people
Mhm.
turned to it really quickly and they really jumped into it. And if you kind of look at what's happened with us at Talk Shop Live is books and music were what we call our gateway categories, right?
Mhm.
So those were the categories that we were really in going into this. And then when COVID hit, like for books, everybody started using us to launch their books and to launch their book pre-orders, right?
Mhm.
And a lot of music, people started coming on for the pre-orders. And so we started working with every major book publisher, every major record label, and then from there, now it's expanded into, food, beauty, just all these other categories as we've launched with retailers like Walmart and Best Buy to, to publishers like Condé Nast and Hearst and people even doing shoppable interviews.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I will say I commend you guys too for sticking with the physical aspect and not going digital, because I'm a physical media guy, so I like the DVDs, the Blu-rays, the CDs. I'm not too much vinyl, but the fact that you guys are moving those units, how does that make you feel growing up with that kind of atmosphere? And then now you're kind of in charge of, in some ways, you're kind of the head of moving these items like that, as opposed to digital versions.
Well, and I think it's really fascinating because, it's like earlier today we had Dolly Parton was on,
Yes.
right? She
Yeah.
was on today with James Patterson, and they had her book, and then they also had uh, the violet version of their vinyl,
Mhm.
right? And so it's really exciting to watch that happen. But then last week we had a TikTok star, Noah Schnacky, who's 21 years old, who came on, and he had come on like the week before to do like a fundraiser for Stand Up to Cancer. And then he was like, wow, this is really cool. I see all these artists on here. Can I come on with my album? And we were like, absolutely. And he ended up going live from backstage at the Grand Ole Opry, and he
Wow.
sold all of the physical units that were made for his album, all
Wow.
of them. Do you know what I mean? And so then
Yeah.
when you're talking about someone who's 21, whose fans are buying all of their physical copies of their album, it's really impressive. And I think it shows, like, Buddy, to your point, it shows the connection that people have to the actual music and to the artist.
Yeah, and what I love about it too is you guys offer a lot of times exclusive autographed editions, and I've bought several from you, mostly of Reba. She's my big female artist, like Garth is the male. And I had gotten the press release about her new album and DVD set, and before I even hit publish, I already had it pre-ordered. I couldn't resist.
Really? I was like,
Yeah.
she's back.
Exactly. And with her and many other artists, you Nancy O'Dell is hosted, just like with Dolly earlier. And how does that make you feel too, that you get like these iconic journalists or news people that come on and then they host these artist exclusive interviews on your platform selling their physical albums or books?
I know, it's kind of a pinch me moment, right? And it's, like, the other thing is people come on and they have, like, typically if you're watching like an interview on TV or something, right, it's going to last like 5 minutes,
Mhm.
Mhm.
right? And then what's so great about these is you sit down and you get an hour with someone that you really care about, and you get to ask your questions, and Nancy can ask the questions, or whoever's doing it. But we've had, from, Garth and Trisha and Reba and Dolly to Matthew McConaughey,
Yeah.
Oprah, Katie Couric. You know, it's really fascinating to be able to sit and have that time with these people who, you know, we all really care about. And I feel like what it does is it opens the experience into, so it's not just an interview, but it really does become that conversation.
And it reconnects us to them. And I think that the fact that physicals are selling on Talk Shop Live is the proof, because I think physicals fell off because I'm a millennial. I think, Bryan, you're a millennial as well. I think for us, when Apple Music came out, it was just, why would I have to go to the store, buy the thing, load it to the computer, when now I can just download it. You lost that connection. And what I think TSL is doing is really reconnecting the artists with their fans in the new medium, and making them excited to have that physical copy. Because, alluding to what you were saying earlier, it's like having a piece of that evening with them, or that afternoon where they were live. So it's, for lack of a better word, it's justifying owning physicals again in a way that a lot of people just didn't see the value of for the last several years. So thank you for your service, not to every industry that's physicals have been suffering, because I think you found the key to reconnecting that.
But it's like, you know, I look back because I shop too, right? And I think what it does is I think it turns the experience. You know, one of the things I was talking to someone about earlier today, but I was like, you know, so much has just become about buying, right? Whereas I think what Talk Shop Live provides is it brings shopping back. It brings the experience back. It brings, you know, the connectivity back. It, you know, and like for me, like, you know, buddy, when I look and I see the Reba crystal vinyl that I also ordered really quickly as soon as it went up. But it takes me back to a memory, you know, and it reminds me how excited I was, that she came on, but then also, you know, watching the interview with Nancy O'Dell, where, you know, she got super personal, and it was, you know, it was like a magical experience. And the fact when they reached back out to us and they were like, Reba wants to come back again, or her team wants her to come back again, I was like, bring it on. This is so exciting. So, yeah.
Because I had ordered, like I said, I'm not too much on vinyl, but I had to get the crystal vinyl. I had to get my daughter a copy of it, and I got the autographed CDs. So I'll buy multiple copies depending on who it is. And then with Garth and Triple Live, you know, he had 6 different covers. I hunted all those down, and it's just a unique opportunity that a lot of retailers, I think, are getting away from. And it's sad now that when I go into Best Buy, there's one section of movies now and hardly any CDs. But I can go to your shop and I can pick up all of those in exclusive editions, signed editions in some ways. And it's really, it takes me back to the days when early Amazon and CD Now, if you remember that place, you just order stuff because it was convenient and you got really neat physical items. So I'm excited about your shop, and I have been since it came out, because it's just a unique opportunity for everybody to just kind of be social and purchase things.
What excites? Go ahead.
And the
sorry,
other
go
thing
ahead, Bryan.
Sorry, no, I was going to say the other thing that's so exciting is to hear how much the creators and the talent enjoy coming on and doing it, and the experience that they get to have with everyone else that's participating in it. Because, for instance, we have, I don't know if you've seen, but we have a rock and roll channel, right? And it has a lot of different artists, right? From Kiss to Paul McCartney have come on. Anyways, so someone who works on our team named Joe, who runs kind of like our overall, like he's our VP of Talent and Entertainment Partnerships. He calls me and he was like, hey, he was like, I just got reached out to by Ringo Starr's team because Paul McCartney's team recommended for him to come on Talk Shop Live to when he releases his album. And I was like, wow, like that's really cool, because it means that it's, you know, we all have such a great time doing it as like fans of these, iconic artists, right?
Mhm.
And upcoming artists, right? But then like Priscilla Block. But then what's also so great to hear is when they're like, I had so much fun doing that, because I think it's much more fun to be live communicating with your fans than it is to just do a typical interview.
I'm going to do a
Yeah.
quick analogy here, and I might be shoving my foot way down far in my mouth, but it's the perfect model mix between the QVC model and I would even dare to say the PBS model. Let me explain. You're not on QVC. It's a little impersonal, not to knock them, because the personality, they're talking to the people on the phone and they're talking to the host, but their primary goal is they're selling their wares. They're explaining why the product is so great and you need to have it, blah, blah, blah. PBS, when they do their pledge drives, you're watching something and you're pledging because you like what you're watching, not necessarily because they're selling you a tchotchke you're going to get with your $20 donation. What you do on Talk Shop Live is the people who come on, like Buddy was saying with the interviews, they're not related to the product in a lot of ways. So you're just having that conversation and it makes you want it all the more because they're not overselling it. So I really think you've hit on a fantastic formula that makes it feel so personal. I feel like I'm talking in circles, but that leads to the question, what is obviously you're living your dream, but 5, 10, 20 years from now, where do you see the growth of Talk Shop Live going?
I think, one of the things that we talk about a lot internally is that it really helps connect the retail and media landscapes, right?
Yeah.
So I think what it does in a lot of ways is it serves as a solution for the creators, right? To be able to go directly to their audiences, bring their products to them and have that experience with them. It serves as a solution for retailers, right? Walmart, Best Buy, et cetera, who can also embed it right on their own sites. And then the other thing is we've launched with a lot of publishing partners as well. So, like Condé Nast, Hearst, BuzzFeed, where the videos are then embedded there. We need to start getting them embedded on Music Universe.
Definitely.
But what's so great is then people can watch them and shop them in those areas too, right? And you can host them your own viewing parties there. So I think, as we see it grow and expand, I think one of the things that's so exciting for me, even this year coming up, like the amount of artists and record labels and management that's reached out being like, we want to have our artist announce their album and announce their Talk Shop Live show with the album, because it's because they know that it's a really dynamic experience for, the artists or the talent and their fans. Is it's kind of a dream. It's a dream to know that you're doing something that ultimately is helping people connect. Because really, that's why I got into social media in the first place. Like way back at 20th Television, when I was pitching a show based on YouTubers that they passed on, but they hired me back to come and start social media. My job was building online communities where people could connect around the programs. And that's really what's always fascinated me. Like I love, like, how do you build communities where people actually get value out of it?
Right.
And so that's why the best thing you guys can say about it is that it's, really about the experience, and then people can buy things within the experience. But that's what I love, that people have started to take the technology and create their own experiences with it, right? Like I always say, like Dude Perfect's show is drastically different from Kiss's show, right? But they're all using the technology to be able to connect with their audiences in a really unique way and grow their audience as well.
Exactly.
Yeah. A thought that just crossed my mind is live streaming like a concert or something, and then selling that same item. When I saw
two buffoons who love to talk about music all the time.
I remember that I believe Live Nation was offering like this, because you bring up Kiss. I had seen them one year, and after the show, you could stick around and actually take home a 2 CD edition of that show that you just heard.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you're looking for content ideas, but that just kind of came to my mind.
Well, I will say one of the things that you're going to start to see happening on Talk Shop Live that I'm really excited about is people are creating So not even just going live just for like the launch of a product, but now what we have is a lot of the like creators coming on and they're creating the programs,
Yeah.
right? Like ongoing programs and series. And that's really exciting as well.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
the future is bright, my friend. Bryan Moore, for many that know him as hashtag, he is so much more than that. He is just, I got to tell you, Bryan, separate of anything with Garth and Trisha, which I know is how we started out. I follow you on Twitter. I follow you on Facebook. I just love seeing your career. I love seeing a fellow millennial be so successful in everything he pursues and everything you pursue. And we wish you absolutely the best. This was a lot of fun. Please come back
Oh, Matt,
on.
don't make me cry. Thank you. No, I just, it's, we all follow our dreams, and it's great to see you guys doing that too, and what you guys do being so successful.
I love hearing this story. That was such a fun interview. He's just such a sweet guy, such an infectious personality. I can see why he clicks with Garth and Trisha. I can see why that works. It's just a fabulous pairing. He's a fabulous guy. Wish Talk Shop Live all the success in the world. Go ahead there, check out Dolly Parton's book. I think you can watch back the live stream, and I think they may have some signed editions still, or who knows, they may have sold out. But go and check. It's talkshop.live, TALK shop.LIVE, and you'll find all the channels, all the shows, etc., etc.
Yeah, all kinds of cool things, like Bryan said, and the future of it, I think, is still coming, and they're going to always try new things, and looking forward to see what they have in the pipeline, as well as new product stuff. I know some announcements will be made whenever they come out. We'll have them here if they're music related, and just really cool to connect with Bryan, and looking forward to seeing him at other Garth shows potentially.
All right, for the Music Universe podcast, I'm Matt.
And I'm Buddy with a new haircut, as you can see. Keep checking us out at themusicuniverse.com, and the podcast. You can subscribe at tmupod.com, as well as click the like and share on social media. Take care.